Well, this is to this as this is to this. Yeah, I got an Amazon Kindle. It's an ebook. And I'm an ebook kind of person because look, I had a Rocketbook. Amazon Kindle is much thinner. There's an odd wedge shape. There seems to be some reason why things can't be equally thick on both sides. But and then if you're wondering about this, this is a Jukebox 6000, an Arcos Jukebox 6000, which seemed amazing at the time that it could hold 400 songs. I never got it to actually work right. Was it 400 songs or was $400 how much money I spent on the darn thing that I could never get to work? Obviously, an iPod is much nicer, thinner, and so is the Amazon Kindle. But how much better is the Amazon Kindle than the old Rocketbook? You might wonder. See, it's not completely glare-free. Picking up a little glare. It's not backlit, but you can see how it is. I can adjust the text. It's not black on white. I would say my biggest disappointment with it is just that the text isn't black on white. It still has that Etch-a-Sketch look, that grayish background. And that's what we had with the Rocketbook. The Rocketbook seems to reflect more, but you can. Sorry, it's reflecting my window. You can see how the Rocketbook looked. What was I reading on the Rocketbook back in the old days? Something I downloaded from Project Gutenberg, so it was a free text. Of the five, Adams alone was tame. He alone added nothing to the wit or humor except as a listener. But they needed a listener, and he was useful. I'll let you identify the things I've been reading. What am I reading on the Amazon Kindle? I loaded it up with things that I bought over on Amazon before I even got the thing. And I have to get on a waiting list, and then it ships to you. But I got it the very day that they said they were going to send it. December 6th, and I've been carrying it around since then. Do I read it a lot? No, I don't spend a lot of time reading it. And I prefer to read a book. In fact, the reason why I stopped using the Rocketbook after I got it, when I got it, I thought I'd really like it. The reason I stopped using it was because I realized that when I read a book, I have sort of an uncanny memory. I've never understood why I have this kind of memory, but a memory for where words are on a page. So if I think of something that was in a book that I read, I can go back and find it, and I know where it was on the page, left-hand side, right-hand side, top, bottom. It's like when I'm reading a book, I'm constantly, without even trying, storing away this extra information, which is where everything was on particular pages. I mean, I don't remember the page number, but I have a sense of physically where it was in the book, the way if I walked all over town, I'd have a sense of where things that I saw were around town. In fact, that's one reason I actually like audiobooks, because if you listen to an audiobook, which I do while walking around town, then you're combining your memory of whatever's in the text, the listened to text, with the things that you're seeing on the street. So it's like you're placing your memories around the town. Now, there's really no relevant relationship between what happens to be in the audio text when you pass a certain milestone, landmark, but the combining of different sensory impressions builds the memory. And so then I find, for example, that if I've been listening to the autobiography of Eric Clapton while walking around Brooklyn, then there are places in Brooklyn where I can remember that Eric Clapton once got up in the middle of the night on Christmas when he was a grown man and opened all his presents. That's a particular street in Brooklyn. So that's an aid to the memory. I mean, where something appears on the page also has no relationship to the actual meaning of whatever text you're reading, but it's an aid to memory. I don't know if you've ever read the book called Mind of a Mnemonist, M-N-E, mnemonist, a man who had a phenomenal memory, and the mnemonic device that he used when he was remembering, he would remember these long strings of numbers. he would picture a room or walking along a street, and he would place the numbers. Like the 7 would be down by the hedge, and the 8 would be at the top of the next stoop. And so then he could mentally walk down the street and then see the chain of numbers. There's no relationship between the 7 and the 8 and the stoop and the hedge, but the reinforcement of the multiple images was helpful to him. So that's why a book, and even an audiobook, if you're walking around and not just lying there with your eyes shut, reinforces memory by giving you these multiple impressions. The thing about an ebook, which I realized back when I had the Rocketbook, was that every page looked the same, and there was no real reason, there was no beginning and end to a page. You're just scrolling through the whole text. And so I decided I'm putting in this reading time, and I'm not automatically storing all this extra information that will be mnemonic markers for me for future memory. And so I am not getting quality reading time. And that's quite apart from whether the text looks good or bad, whether it's hurting my eyes, whether it's heavy to carry around. And those are all issues with an ebook. Is that any different with the Kindle? Well, the pages seem to be formatted in pages, but no, that's not really true. No, it'll just begin and end a page depending on how big you have the text. And there's no sense of where you are in the book, like, where on the thickness of the book. Are you in the first part? Are you in the middle? You might be at the top or the bottom of a particular screen, but there's no meaning to that screen. And if you scroll through it on another occasion, I don't know that you'll be at the same spot on the screen. So you don't have that constant reinforcing of a book. So I don't like it as much as a book because it doesn't have that quality of physical landmarks on the page. And also because the text itself is not, it's not black and white, so it's not maximum contrast. That's just a problem that's inherent in the thing. And I'm not really holding it against the Kindle. It's just that I would prefer, if I had the choice, I would prefer a book. Also, books are objects that you see on your shelf, and that helps you remember that you read them or think to go back and look at them. You can pick them up again, and just the reality of that book brings back a lot of memories about what you've read. You can start flipping through it, and the familiar experience of dealing with a book is special. Maybe it's special to me because I grew up reading books and not ebooks. And over the years, I've gotten much more used to reading things online. So I'm reading, or other things in my computer. I'm used to reading the screen. So I thought that the ebook would be better. But I still think a book is superior. But the main thing about the ebook is that you can always have it in your handbag. I don't know where you men put the things, but for a woman, in your handbag. And it really doesn't weigh anything significant or really take up any significant space. So then you always have your reading with you, and you can also use it to connect high-speed online and see what's, I subscribe to the New York Times for $15 a month and to the AP Political Wire. So you can subscribe to various news sources. And you can also get to Wikipedia all the time. And you can also get to Amazon and buy any kind of new books that you want. Here it is, folks. I think it's nice and lightweight, good to carry around. It's not my favorite way to read. I'm a little disappointed that the text is not dark black on complete white like good paper. But the technology just isn't there to do that yet. I'm sure they would like to do that. And, you take what you can get when you can get it, because, there was a time when I took this darn thing. Will everyone have a Kindle like everyone has an iPad? I doubt it, because do people really want to read that much? And if they do, don't they just have a magazine to carry around, or a newspaper? Little paperback book? Then you can put it on your shelf when you're done to remind you that you read it. Do you really want everything to evanesce, to be electronic ink that becomes nothing as soon as you turn the page? It's up to you, my friends. Maybe you do like that. Maybe you do like evanescence. And there's nothing wrong with you if you do.